Shalom, folks. Rabbi Jacques. I'm taping this in the business lounge at the Belo Horizonte airport. And I just had, this past week, one of the most wonderful experiences in my life. Having traveled a lot, as you know, I like to do. I went to this place called Parque Nacional Cavernas do Peruaçu. Just to give you an idea what it is, it's caves. You see a bunch of caves here, amazing caves. And then, the best part, petroglyphs. Really amazing stuff. I'll show you. The best known one is here. And it's quite a remote place with infrastructure that definitely could be better, although I would say that for Brazil it's very good. It's really out of the way, because to get there you must first get to Brazil, then you need to get to either to here, Belo Horizonte, or another city called Montes Claros, which is the biggest city near there, about 3 hours away, and then you get to go to this park. And it was really amazing. In case you are my friend on Facebook, you can log in there, and I put a bunch of pictures. But it's interesting because this is, as I said, a very remote place. So evidently I was totally out of touch. No Wi-Fi, no cell phone, no nothing. It made me think of Shabbat. Shabbat is, and there are people who talk about having a Shabbat of electronics, that you totally disconnect, and then you connect with something else. And really, this was an experience like, even though it was a Wednesday that I went, Tuesday and Wednesday, I definitely felt like Shabbat. And this is great because it connects with this week's Torah portion. By coincidence, because that's why this is a sermon, is, essentially the idea of Shabbat, is the essential idea of Judaism, a day dedicated to God, to family, to religion. It's actually also a day about, not a day about doing, it's a day about being. We ideally, if you're observant, or maybe you create your own observance, you take the Shabbat to stop worrying about things and just to be happy, to be with God, to be with family, with friends. I think as I come back here to my native Brazil, I realize Brazilians are very good at just being happy, in a way that sometimes we are not. We tend to live in a world that's 24/7, and maybe we should think about living in a world that's 24/6. Be great for our mental health. And as I said, this idea, it's very relevant this week's Torah portion. The Torah portion, which is Vayakhel, focuses, the main thing is the building of the tabernacle that they would be carrying, the Israelites would be carrying through the desert as a center of worship. And it says there, in Exodus 35:2, on 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day you shall have a Shabbat of complete rest, holy to the Lord. So, but right again, before Moses asked the people to begin doing the work, he reminds them that they need to come together and do not work on Shabbat. The other 6 days of the week are to do, but one day, the Sabbath, is to be. So the Israelites need to work and then need to stop and rest. And then, from that, our tradition, the rabbis and the Talmud, create rules that have to do with the fact that the laws of the building of the tabernacle and resting on the Sabbath coming together. They decide that what is forbidden on the Sabbath is exactly the work necessary for the building of the tabernacle. From there, the rabbis come up with 39 rules. 39, in Hebrew they're called avot melacha, and 39, by the way, is a very important number, because a number that 40 is a lot is 40. 39 is one less than totally a lot, which means it's a bunch, but not so much, not totally huge number. Okay, it's 39. There are 39 categories of work forbidden on Shabbat. And then, curiously, even in our literature, the rabbis admit that the laws of Shabbat are like a mountain hanging by a thread of hair, because there's a multitude of laws with very little support in the text. Okay, so in that we learn in the Mishnah Chagiga 1:8. But the rabbis knew what they were doing. They wanted to get beyond our natural, normal tendency to constantly transform the world, to constantly be doing, even if we are building a tabernacle for God. Once a week we have to stop and just be. And I'll give you an example. One, by the way, I just learned this, it's fascinating. How does this rabbinical laws work? Like this. If the tabernacle contained 12 loaves of bread that were changed every day, they call it showbread, and 12 loaves, one for each tribe. And anything involved in the planting and growing of wheat or the preparing of that wheat into bread is forbidden on Shabbat. For instance, on Shabbat you cannot plow, you cannot sow, you cannot reap, you cannot separate the wheat from the chaff, you cannot grind the wheat, knead the dough, or bake the bread. Okay? However, being rabbis, and the details are quite complicated, and the rules are very arcane, if you cannot plant wheat, then traditionally you cannot tend your garden on Shabbat. Even though we would think it's from a traditional perspective, right? You think that as liberal Jews think, I enjoy doing what I like to do on Shabbat, and that's the day I dedicate for that, and I would be in favor of that. But from a more traditional understanding of the law, if you cannot plant, you cannot tend your garden. If you cannot bake bread, then you cannot cook on Shabbat. If you cannot separate the grain, you cannot pick the inedible from the edible on Shabbat. You're gonna love this one now. Now it's a key moment of the sermon. For instance, if you're very, very orthodox, you cannot pick out watermelon seeds on Shabbat. You cannot eat watermelon because it necessarily force you to separate the watermelon, or you eat seedless watermelon that Israel specializes in. And the other one, here comes the big one. We all know about gefilte fish. Gefilte fish, I personally think it's horrible. I always thought there was a joke that Jews played on Gentiles by feeding them that garbage, especially the aspic, the broth, the jelly made with the bone. But why do Jews eat gefilte fish on Shabbat? It's a fish meal that the fish is ground, obviously, and the bones have been removed previously. Why? Because it's forbidden to remove fish bones, picking out the bones on Shabbat. And that is the real reason why people eat gefilte fish. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, the laws of Shabbat are complex, very complex for one who wants to observe them strictly. But I even remember my grandmother telling me how hard her life was back in Poland, where they were the rabbis in town and everything, and how everything was forbidden. Even like combing your hair on Shabbat with a brush. You could only do it with a wooden comb. I remember vividly she telling me that. So, that's one of the reasons why she became far more secular. But, but nonetheless, I believe the idea of a Sabbath is crucial, it's very powerful, both for Jews and non-Jews. As people, we need time to do and time to be. We need to transform the world. We need to stop transforming and simply enjoy or understand, comprehend the world. We need to set aside all other devices, computers, laptops, whatever, and simply enjoy other people's company. How many times I see people sitting at the table and whole family and everybody's on their device. Even the cooker corns have done that. And then when that happens, I send messages to Denise. Hey, how are you? Ask her. So, bottom line, friends, there's a time to do and a time to be. I hope this Shabbat you all be very, very happy. Shabbat Shalom from Brazil. And I see I'm here at the airport. Let me see if I can show you. That's the window. Oh, there's a plane over there. Can you see? Okay. Anyway, that's it. Shabbat Shalom. Hope you come to shul. If you're in shul already, even better.